on UNSC reinforcements.
All wings checking in.
Who needs some lovin'? I really don't think this is a good idea. We better get workman's comp.
Like the view?
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
This war has enough dead heroes. Let's get this ugly bird on the road.
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Honeycomb, we think this was your business. We're on a restricted channel. Keep it brief. We're on a restricted channel. Keep it brief.
Flight crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble.
Honeycomb, we think this was your business.
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Who needs some lovin'? Refit station on its way.
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space. Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space. Our Allied capital ship has been neutralized.
I hope we make it. We better get workman's comp.
The Covenant will learn to fear my name.
Honeycomb, sweet thing. What's your business? We're on a restricted channel. Keep it brief. We're on a restricted channel. Keep it brief.
The Covenant will learn to fear my name. CV standing at condition yellow.
Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space.
Artemis Agro Terra.
Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space.
Honeycomb, sweet thing. What's your business?
The Covenant will learn to fear my name. Flight crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble.
Command crew on watchdog status. Put me at some more prey.
The Covenant will learn to fear my name. Swords fully stocked, Commander.
Command crew on watchdog status. Honeycomb, sweet thing. What's your business? Honeycomb, sweet thing. What's your business?
The Covenant will learn to fear my name.
We're on a restricted channel. Keep it brief. We're on a restricted channel. Keep it brief. Artemis Agro Terra. We're on a restricted channel. Keep it brief.
CV standing at condition yellow.
Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space. Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space. Flip space jump complete. Our Allied capital ship has been neutralized.
Carrier standing by.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Anchor station. All systems nominal. Anchor station. All systems nominal.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
More preliminary research is required.
Phoenix-class refit complete.
So, where do we stand?
Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space.
So, where do we stand?
Anchor station. All systems nominal.
Phoenix-class refit complete.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Valiant class, super heavy cruiser, up and running.
Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
So, where do we stand?
Sensor integration complete.
So, where do we stand?
Allied forces have entered UNSC controlled space.
So, where do we stand?
Let's not outstay our welcome.
So, where do we stand?
Let's go Halo hunting.
So, where do we stand?
Super carrier reporting for duty.
Point me at some more prey.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
The Covenant will learn to fear my name.
So, where do we stand?
I suppose we should lead by example.
I can give you racing stripes if you got a bottle of whiskey.
Situation update, please.
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
Onicom, sweet synced. What's your business?
All Marines, report to cryo chambers.
Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational.
The Covenant will learn to fear my name.
Like the view?
Slip space jump complete.
I think I got enough nukes to pop a star.
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete. Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational.
She's ugly, but she gets the job done. Refit station on its way.
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
Sleep space, jump.
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete. Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational. Operational.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete. Here. All weapons fully linked and operational.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online. Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete. Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
More preliminary research is required. More preliminary research is required. More preliminary research is required. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational. Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational.
Anchor station. All systems nominal.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Refit cruiser on standby status, Commander.
Halcyon-class cruiser reporting for duty.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Flip space jump complete.
That's, Vice Admiral. Vainglorious bastards, take them out.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Our Allied capital ship has been neutralized. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Falcon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
Allied Titan has been neutralized.
Falcon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Falcon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
So, where do we stand?
Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere.
So, where do we stand?
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Let's get this ugly bird on the road. We'll try, sir.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
CV standing at condition yellow.
Artemis Agro Terra.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Desperate times call for desperate measures.
Honeycomb, sweet synced. What's your business?
Got some ODST hotshots looking for action.
The Covenant will learn to fear my name. Artemis Agro Terra. Put me at some more prey.
Huh. Epoch is large and in charge.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
So, where do we stand?
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
So, where do we stand?
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Looking at some more prey.
So, where do we stand?
Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere.
So, where do we stand?
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
So, where do we stand?
We are the culmination of human achievement.
What does the UNSC need of us?
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Artemis online, crew roster full.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Sensor integration complete.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
What do you need of me?
So, where do we stand?
All Spartan teams are prepped and ready for launch.
Hunker down. We're going dark.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
So, where do we stand?
Phoenix-class refit complete.
So, where do we stand?
Hunker down. We're going dark.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Phoenix-class refit complete.
Hunker down. We're going dark.
Broadsword bomber equipped and ready to blow.
Falcon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
Engaging thrusters.
For Earth and her colonies. We will get there, eventually.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
We've reached the slipspace transit node.
Nav, fire off a log buoy. Nav, fire off a log buoy.
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
Phoenix receiving UNSC hail.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Valiant class, super heavy cruiser, up and running.
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1. Valiant class, super heavy cruiser, up and running.
Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere.
Honeycomb, sweet synced. What's your business?
Who needs some lovin'? We better get working, Tom.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
I can give you racing stripes if you got a bottle of whiskey.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
I suppose we should lead by example.
Super carrier reporting for duty.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Halcyon-class cruiser reporting for duty.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Artemis Agroterra.
What do you need of me? I'll be in my private quarters.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Who needs some lovin'?
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Our allied capital ship has been neutralized.
Super carrier reporting for duty. There are no heroes in this war.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Epoch, ready to carry our weight.
Slipspace jump complete. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. UNSC-controlled space. Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Into the black once more.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
17,000 of humanity's best and brightest on standby.
Hornets nest ready to stand. Hornets nest ready to stand. Hornets nest ready to stand.
Non-essential crew report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Reach the slip space transit node.
Hornets nest ready to stand.
Refit station operational.
All swords docked. Ready for a jump.
Refit station operational. Refit station operational.
So, did you miss me? Well, that's it then. I'm bringing us back to Combat Alert Alpha.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Refit station operational. Engaging thrusters. Let's not keep our passengers waiting. Refit station operational.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Huh. Epoch is large and in charge.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
The situation must be grave. What do you need of me?
I see we've made a few upgrades.
Phoenix receiving UNSC hail. Refit station operational.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
It's pronounced Epoch, by the way.
Refit station operational. Refit station operational.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Refit station operational.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Refit station operational.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Uploading nav point.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Refit station operational.
Slip space jump complete.
human achievement.
Autopilot engaged. Refit station operational. Refit station operational.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Refit station operational. Refit station operational. I hope we make it. Refit station on its way.
Non-essential crew, report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
We're on a restricted channel. Keep it brief.
Refit station operational.
Broadsword bomber equipped and ready to blow.
Situation update, please.
What do you need of me?
Refit station operational.
Situation update, please.
Make sure we put this bird to good use. That's, Vice Admiral.
Refit station operational.
Command crew on watchdog status.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Refit station operational.
Command crew on watchdog status.
Refit station operational. Refit station operational. I can give you racing stripes if you got a bottle of whiskey.
All wings checking in.
Refit station operational.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Refit station operational. Refit station operational. My engineers are at your disposal.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Refit station operational.
A new colony has been founded. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Hello? Wir bauen ja schon. I will simply kill them all. Keine Überlebenden. Wir bauen ja schon. I will simply kill them all. Wir bauen ja schon. Wir bauen ja schon. Keine Überlebenden.
She's ugly, but she gets the job done. What does the UNSC need of us? Autopilot engaged.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Orbital structure complete.
Let's go Halo hunting. Course change underway.
Welcome to the blunderbuss.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Oni xenoarchaeologists have uncovered a powerful alien artifact. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Hornet's nest ready to sting. Hornet's nest ready to sting. Hornet's nest ready to sting. Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Orbital structure complete.
Artemis battlecruiser running hot.
Hornet's nest ready to sting. Hornet's nest ready to sting. Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Artemis online, crew roster full.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Orbital structure complete.
Remember, we were never here.
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Falcon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
Orbital structure complete. Slipspace jump complete.
Phoenix-class refit complete.
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
Valiant class, super heavy cruiser, up and running. You told me to fight, and that's what I've done.
Put me at some more prey.
CV standing at condition yellow.
Like the view?
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
So, where do we stand?
Super carrier reporting for duty.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Infinity Comm Sync online. Strident on the move.
So, where do we stand? 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 So, where do we stand?
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Fury defense platform awaiting orders.
Refit station operational. Refit station operational.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Hornet's Nest ready to sting. Hornet's Nest ready to sting. Hornet's Nest ready to sting.
This war has enough dead heroes.
Hornet's Nest ready to sting.
Let's see if this brick can fly.
Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere.
Hornet's Nest ready to sting.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Let's get this ugly bird on the road.
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
This war has enough dead heroes.
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Our capital ship's hull is critical. 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 Ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Planet-side infrastructure complete. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Planet-side infrastructure complete. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Orbital structure complete. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Planet-side infrastructure complete. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
This better be important. There are no heroes in this war.
Orbital structure complete. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space.
Command crew on watchdog status.
Infinity Com Sync online.
Sir, awaiting orders, sir.
Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Planet-side infrastructure complete. Allied forces have entered UNSC-controlled space. Orbital structure complete.
Remember, we were never here.
Orbital structure complete.
Welcome to the blunderbuss. First line of defense.
Phoenix class refit complete. Phoenix class refit complete.
Orbital structure complete.
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online. Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
Phoenix class refit complete.
Shielded frigate ready. Moving to secondary position.
Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational. Jump coordinates locked in.
Epoch, ready to carry our weight.
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
So, where do we stand?
Orbital structure complete.
So, where do we stand?
Ready to join the task force, Admiral.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Carrier standing by.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Marathon-class cruiser up and running.
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete. Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational. Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete. Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
I'll be in my private quarters.
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online. Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational.
So, where do we stand?
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Diverting reactor power to engine systems. Frigate Heavy standing by. Crew A, report to Cairo Chamber.
Catch you on the flip side. All Marines, report to cryo chambers.
Hunker down. We're going dark.
LT, get us the hell out of here!
Awaiting orders.
Refit cruiser entering the slipstream.
Hunker down. We're going dark.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
I suppose we should lead by example.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
Anchor station. All systems nominal.
New colonies await. I'll be in my private quarters.
Diplomatic vessel on standby.
Calculating gravitational pull.
Carrier standing by. All squadrons, green light to engage.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
Calculating gravitational pull.
Planet-side infrastructure complete. Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Flip space jump complete. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Welcome to the blunderbuss.
This mag gun is a bona fide killing machine.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Well, go on. We'll keep the Covenant off your back.
Double the trouble, double the fun. Fury defense platform awaiting orders.
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Refit cruiser on standby status, Commander.
Like the view? Situation update, please.
Ready for orders.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Artemis Agro Terra.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
I think I got enough nukes to pop a star.
Situation update, please.
Peace is no longer a viable option. Ready for orders.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Make sure we put this bird to good use.
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Flight crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble.
Command crew on watchdog status.
That's, Vice Admiral.
It's pronounced Epoch, by the way.
Planet-side infrastructure complete. UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
Inventory check complete.
Like the view?
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Honeycomb, sweet synced. What's your business?
Make sure we put this bird to good use.
Where do you need my wings?
Like the view? I see we've made a few upgrades.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
CV standing at condition yellow. Flight crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble.
Valiant Super Heavy. All systems go.
It's pronounced epoch, by the way.
Honeycomb, sweet synced. What's your business?
Bring me up to speed. Inventory check complete.
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Halcyon-class cruiser reporting for duty.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
This mag gun is a bona fide killing machine.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Super carrier reporting for duty.
Humanity's future lies in the heavens. Phoenix receiving UNSC hail.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Marathon-class cruiser up and running.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
First line of defense.
Valiant class Super Heavy cruiser up and running. Valiant class Super Heavy cruiser up and running.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Phoenix-class refit complete.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Orbital structure complete.
Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational. Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational. Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational.
Valiant class Super Heavy cruiser up and running.
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete. Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
Anchor station. All systems nominal.
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete. Refit cruiser waiting for your go.
All wings checking in. Calculating gravitational pull.
Artemis Agro Terra.
Let me tell you what I know of war.
Artemis Agro Terra. The Covenant will learn to fear my name.
Marathon-class cruiser reporting for duty.
The innies will learn to fear my name.
Nav, fire off a log buoy. Slip space drive winding up.
Non-essential crew, report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
So, where do we stand?
Slipspace jump complete.
Anchor station. All systems nominal.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
A new colony has been founded.
So, where do we stand?
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
First line of defense.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Looks like the Halcyon days aren't quite through yet. Sure thing. I'll get us there soon.
UNSC Infinity awaiting orders.
Well, this is quite an improvement, isn't it? Jump coordinates locked in.
Hunker down, we're going dark. Hunker down, we're going dark. Nav, fire off a log buoy.
This SMAC gun is a bona fide killing machine. I suppose we should lead by example.
All swords dropped. Ready for a jump.
Slip space jump complete. UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere. More preliminary research is required. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
Sleep space, jump.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Falcon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online. Falcon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
So, where do we stand?
Falcon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Falcon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online. Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
So, where do we stand?
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Falcon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
More preliminary research is required.
HFFG reporting in.
Orbital structure complete.
So, where do we stand?
Who needs some lovin'?
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete.
Trident-class heavy frigate reporting in.
Orbital structure complete.
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Hornet's nest ready. Hornet's nest ready to stand.
Halcyon here.
Hunker down. We're going dark.
Slip space jump on my mark. Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Non-essential crew, report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
LT, get us the hell out of here!
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Slip space jump on my mark.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
All Marines, report to cryo chambers.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Flip space jump complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements. More preliminary research is required.
Bring me up to speed. Bring him down.
The situation must be grave.
CV standing at condition yellow.
Got some ODST hotshots. Looking for action.
Looks like the halcyon days aren't quite through yet.
Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete.
It's pronounced epoch, by the way.
Orion!
I think I got enough nukes to pop a star.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Got some ODST hotshots. Looking for action.
Epoch is large and in charge.
Peace is no longer a viable option.
Put me at some more prey. Honeycomb, sweet synced. What's your business?
Situation update, please.
Artemis Agro Terra. Artemis Agro Terra.
CV standing at condition yellow.
Bring me up to speed.
All wings checking in. All wings checking in.
I can give you racing stripes if you got a bottle of whiskey.
Uploading nav point.
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Halcyon here. For the UNSC.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Slip space jump complete.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
Ground forces are under planetary bombardment.
New colonies await.
Halcyon-class cruiser reporting for duty.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1. Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Slip space drive winding up.
Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational. Looks like the Halcyon days aren't quite through yet.
So, where do we stand?
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
Slip space jump on my mark.
Well, this is quite an improvement, isn't it? Refit cruiser away. Where's the fight?
Anchor station. All systems nominal.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements. More preliminary research is required.
Anchor station. All systems nominal.
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
Additional orbital infrastructure required.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational.
So, where do we stand?
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
A few hundred tons of depleted uranium should set them straight.
Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere. Orbital structure complete. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete.
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
So, where do we stand?
Welcome to the blunderbuss.
emergency on here? Well, that's it then. I'm bringing us back to Combat Alert Alpha.
More preliminary research is required.
Where do you need my fighters?
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
Hostile painted. All squadrons, green light to engage.
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
So, where do we stand?
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
More preliminary research is required. More preliminary research is required.
Refit here. All weapons fully linked and operational. Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
So, did you miss me?
Halcyon Flight 2 on station. Refit package complete.
Security defense platform awaiting orders.
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
So, where do we stand?
More preliminary research is required.
So, where do we stand?
HFFG reporting in.
Invalid structure placement.
Hornet's nest ready to sting. Hornet's nest ready to sting.
All systems come.
Hornet's nest ready to sting. Hornet's nest ready to sting.
More preliminary research is required.
Flight 2 ready. Command deck online.
Slip space jump complete.
All Spartan teams are prepped and ready for launch.
My engineers are at your disposal.
Where am I needed, Commander?
The halcyon days are over.
Put me at some more prey.
Got some ODST hotshots. Looking for action.
Like the view?
There are no heroes in this war.
It's pronounced epoch, by the way. Flight crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble.
Artemis Agro Terra.
Marathon class crews are reporting for duty.
You told me to fight, and that's what I've done.
Where do you need my wings? Where do you need my wings?
I suppose we should lead by example.
Slip space drive winding up.
Non-essential crew, report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Who needs some lovin'?
Marathon-class cruiser reporting for duty.
Swords fully stocked, Commander.
Got some ODST hotshots looking for action.
Command crew on watchdog status.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
Huh. Epoch is large and in charge. CV standing at condition yellow.
Colony command signal lost.
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Marathon-class cruiser up and running.
HFFG reporting in.
So, where do we stand?
Desperate times call for desperate measures. If you think it's a good use of my time, Supercarrier reporting for duty.
Slip space jump complete.
Phoenix class refit complete.
There are no heroes in this war.
Epoch, ready to carry our weight.
I'll take the innies any day over total human extinction.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
What do you need?
awaiting orders.
Into the black, once more.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Non-essential crew, report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
Let's not outstay our welcome. Let's not outstay our welcome. I see we've made a few upgrades.
I can give you racing stripes if you got a bottle of whiskey.
Where am I needed, Commander? Maintaining control.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. A new colony has been founded.
I can give you racing stripes if you got a bottle of whiskey.
Invalid structure placement. Invalid structure placement.
Slip smash jump on my mark.
Non-essential crew, report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
I'll be in my private quarters.
All hands, prep for slip space jump.
Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Jump coordinates locked in.
Orbital structure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete.
Let the guns talk.
Orbital structure complete. All surface hostiles have been eliminated. A new colony has been founded.
Flight crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble.
Orbital structure complete. UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Nothing of value has been found.
Let me tell you what I know of war.
Huh. Epoch is large and in charge.
Marathon-class cruiser reporting for duty.
Swords fully stocked, Commander.
Point me at some more prey.
Valiant Super Heavy. All systems go.
Planet-side infrastructure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Anchor station. All systems nominal.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Planet-side infrastructure complete. Invalid structure placement.
Shielded frigate ready. Power to engines.
Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete. UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
Nav, fire off a log buoy.
New colonies await.
Into the black, once more. Non-essential crew, report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
Planet-side infrastructure complete. Ground forces are under planetary bombardment.
Orion!
Orbital structure complete. Planet-side infrastructure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete.
Calculating gravitational pull.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Slip smash jump on my mark. I suppose we should lead by example.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
All hands, prep for slip space jump.
All Marines, report to cryo chambers.
New colonies await.
Planet-side infrastructure complete. Orbital structure complete.
to fear my name.
Let's go Halo hunting.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
We've reached the Slipspace Transit Node. We've reached the Slipspace Transit Node.
Catch you on the flip side.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements. UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Slipspace jump complete.
Let's see what we got over there.
All squadrons are accounted for.
Let's not outstay our welcome. Let's not outstay our welcome.
I suppose we should lead by example.
New colonies await.
I'll be in my private quarters.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Make sure we put this bird to good use.
Nothing of value has been found. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
All wings checking in.
Colony command signal lost.
Who needs some lovin'?
A new colony has been founded. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
What do you need of me? If you think it's a good use of my time.
All squadrons are accounted for.
Slipspace jump on my mark.
All swords docked, ready for a jump. Diving into the slipstream.
Orbital structure complete.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Nothing of value has been found.
Humanity's future lies in the heavens.
Orbital structure complete.
What does the UNSC need of us?
Orbital structure complete.
Phoenix Spaceways, your new life awaits.
Planet-side infrastructure complete. Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete.
Diving into the slipstream.
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Non-essential crew, report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
Slip space jump on my mark. Slip space jump on my mark.
Orbital structure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Orbital structure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Like the view?
Orbital structure complete.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. All crew, brace for acceleration.
Orbital structure complete. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
We are ready to wage war.
Ground forces are under planetary bombardment. Slipspace jump complete.
All Marines, report to cryo chambers.
Nav, fire off a log buoy.
Orbital structure complete.
There are no heroes in this war.
Sorts fully stocked, Commander.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Command crew on watchdog status.
Valiant Super Heavy. All systems go. Valiant Super Heavy. All systems go.
A new colony has been founded.
This better be important. Let's get this thing moving.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Nav, fire off a log buoy.
Slip space jump on my mark.
Diving into the slipstream.
Additional orbital infrastructure required.
All hands, prep for slip space jump.
Orbital structure complete. Ground forces are under planetary bombardment. Orbital structure complete. Additional orbital infrastructure required. Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Orbital structure complete.
Humanity's future lies in the heavens. Engaging thrusters.
Planet-side infrastructure complete. UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
I suppose we should lead by example.
Nav, fire off a log buoy.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Into the black, once more.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
Central UNSC headquarters has been relocated.
New colonies await.
Colony command signal lost. Orbital structure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Orbital structure complete. Research order complete.
All Spartan teams are prepped and ready for launch. Inventory check complete.
Artemis Agro Terra.
Like the view?
Flight crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble.
Where am I needed, Commander?
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Halcyon here.
I suppose we should lead by example.
Sleep space jump.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
Command crew on watchdog status. Slip space drive winding up. Hunker down. We're going dark.
We've reached the slip space transit node.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
Slip space jump on my mark.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
New colonies await.
All Marines, report to cryo chambers.
Ponycom sweet synced. What's your business?
Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Nothing of value has been found.
Anchor station. All systems nominal.
Orbital structure complete. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Situation update, please.
Orbital structure complete.
Frigate Heavy standing by. Diverting reactor power to engine systems.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Non-essential crew, report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
Catch you on the flip side.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
So, did you miss me?
Orbital structure complete. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Command crew on watchdog status.
The halcyon days are over.
Sorts fully stocked, Commander. Sorts fully stocked, Commander.
The halcyon days are over.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Put me at some more prey.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Situation update, please.
Where do you need my wings?
Orbital structure complete. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
We're on a restricted channel. Keep it brief.
You told me to fight, and that's what I've done. Got some ODST hotshots looking for action. Valiant Super Heavy. All systems go.
It's pronounced epoch, by the way.
The halcyon days are over.
The innies will learn to fear my name.
What do you need of me?
Epoch is large and in charge. Flight crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble.
We are ready to wage war.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
That's, Vice Admiral.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Let's go Halo hunting. Target locked. Firing for effect.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Like the view?
The rebellion ends now.
That's, Vice Admiral.
Flight crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble.
I, think I got enough nukes to pop a star.
Orbital structure complete.
Bring me up to speed.
Got some ODST hotshots. Looking for action.
Peace is no longer a viable option.
Orion?
The situation must be grave.
Situation update, please.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
CV standing at condition yellow.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
Huh. Epoch is large and in charge.
Make sure we put this bird to good use. I think I got enough nukes to pop a star.
Ready for orders. The halcyon days are over.
Flight crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble. Swords fully stocked, Commander.
Situation update, please. Situation update, please.
We are ready to wage war.
Like the view?
Bomber here.
Carrier standing by.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Like the view?
Huh. Epoch is large and in charge.
Any word on those goddamn aliens?
You told me to fight, and that's what I've done.
Inventory check complete.
The innies will learn to fear my name.
Make sure we put this bird to good use.
CV standing at condition yellow.
Orbital structure complete. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Carrier standing by.
So, did you miss me?
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Make sure we put this bird to good use.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
Let me tell you what I know of war.
Ground forces are under planetary bombardment. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
All surface hostiles have been eliminated. More preliminary research is required.
Carrier standing by. Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Sensor integration complete.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Super carrier reporting for duty.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Remember, we were never here.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Where do you need my fighters?
New colonies await.
Valiant class, super heavy cruiser, up and running.
All hands, prep for slip space jump.
Longsword support has arrived.
Sleep space jump.
General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Catch you on the flip side.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
Executive General Order 098831 Alpha-1.
Into the black, once more.
Slip space jump on my mark.
Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere. Planet-side infrastructure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
I suppose we should lead by example.
Non-essential crew, report to cryobase. Initiating the jump.
I'll be in my private quarters.
Bring me up to speed. Hit the buggies where it hurts.
The situation must be grave.
That's, Vice Admiral. That's, Vice Admiral.
The rebellion ends now.
CV standing at condition yellow.
Orbital structure complete. All surface hostiles have been eliminated. A new colony has been founded.
The innies will learn to fear my name.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Huh. Epoch is large and in charge. Swords fully stocked, Commander.
Bring me up to speed.
Let me tell you what I know of war.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
All swords docked, ready for a jump.
Slip space jump on my mark.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
We've reached the slip space transit node.
I suppose we should lead by example.
Diving into the slipstream.
Our capital ship's hull is critical.
All wings checking in.
We've reached the slip space transit node.
Our capital ship's hull is critical. Planet-side infrastructure complete. Orbital structure complete. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Our capital ship's hull is critical. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Who needs some lovin'?
Let's not outstay our welcome.
Got some ODST hotshots looking for action.
To us and beyond!
Carrier standing by.
Our capital cruiser is venting atmosphere. Orbital structure complete. Our capital ship's hull is critical.
Make sure we put this bird to good use.
Artemis Agro Terra.
Madison-class crews are reporting for duty.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
CV standing at condition yellow.
I see we've made a few upgrades.
Let me tell you what I know of war.
What do you need of me?
The Covenant will learn to fear my name.
I think I got enough nukes to pop a star. Valiant Super Heavy. All systems go.
Orbital structure complete. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Brutes have the worst breath ever.
Put me at some more prey. Huntress on the prowl. We're on a restricted channel. Keep it brief.
Orbital structure complete. A new colony has been founded.
The Covenant will learn to fear my name.
Yeah.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Slipspace jump complete. Planet-side infrastructure complete. Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Flight crew Crews on deck, Commander. Prepare to scramble.
Wart.
Hello? Wir bauen ja schon. Ja?
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Hello? Ja?
CV standing at condition yellow. Got my eyes on the aerospace.
I suppose we should lead by example.
Let's not outstay our welcome.
All hands, prep for slip space jump.
Slip space jump complete. Planet-side infrastructure complete. UNSC reinforcements. Planet-side infrastructure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Who needs some lovin'? Let's see if this brick can fly.
UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
Where am I needed, Commander?
Home sweet synced. What's your business?
Bring me up to speed.
Slip space drive winding up.
Diving into the slipstream, into the black once more.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Slip space jump on my mark.
Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete. Orbital structure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Hornet systems ready to sting.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
All wings checking in. All squadrons, green light to engage.
Sensor integration complete.
Hornet's nest ready to sting. Hostile painted. Hornet's nest ready to sting. Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Super carrier reporting for duty.
Hornet's nest ready to sting.
Heavy carrier at your beck and call.
Humanity's future lies in the heavens.
Phoenix class refit complete.
Valiant class, super heavy cruiser, up and running.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
Marathon class cruiser up and running.
Autopilot engaged.
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Inbound UNSC reinforcements. All surface hostiles have been eliminated. UNSC forces have engaged the enemy. Orbital structure complete.
Super carrier reporting for duty.
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Refit cruiser waiting for you. Go.
Planet-side infrastructure complete.
So, where do we stand? So, where do we stand?
Inbound UNSC reinforcements.
Alcyon class cruiser reporting for duty. Well, that's it then. I'm bringing us back to Combat Alert Alpha.
Anchor station, all systems nominal.
Orbital structure complete. Inbound UNSC reinforcements. More preliminary research is required.
Halcyon Flight 2 ready. Command deck online. Looks like the Halcyon beds aren't quite through yet. Let's see if we can split them right down the middle.
Alcyon here. Weapon systems online.
Flip space jump complete. Planet-side infrastructure complete.
So, where do we stand?
Well, this is quite an improvement, isn't it? Flight 2 cruisers heading to a new harbor.
Planet-side infrastructure complete. UNSC forces have engaged the enemy.
Well, this is quite an improvement, isn't it? I've yet to meet a problem these guns couldn't handle.
Anchor station. All systems nominal.